Hello everyone. Welcome to this episode of Wehry History and Entertainment News of the Berkshires and beyond. This marks the first episode of 2026 and hopefully another great year in the Berkshires. January is a little bit of a quiet time for entertainment events, as many local music, theatrical, and artistic locations are still working out their 2026 seasons. Despite this, there is still a good number of things to see and do. On this episode, I'll be discussing several local concerts and mentioning the history of several local ski places and the Pittsfield Athenaeum. Plus, I'll be reviewing a film one can see during the slow movie month of January. First, it's time for this episode's trivia question. This episode's question is, what movie had the highest grossing opening for a January release? Now, for this episode's local headlines. First up, we are heading to Tanglewood for an announcement on their 2026 season. Tanglewood has already announced 3 major artists for the summer season. They are famed parody artist Weird Al Yankovic performing on July 21st, rock group Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit on July 28th, and country music icon Carrie Underwood on August 29th. Additionally, while his name wasn't mentioned yet, James Taylor is sure to make his annual 4th of July trip. Tickets are currently on sale for the concert, but they are selling out fast. Visit the website shown here for more information. Up next, we will be visiting Masmoka for a fascinating new dance exhibit titled Boiling Rain. Boiling Rain is a call to honor our healthcare workers enduring the durational tending to bodies impacted by ongoing colonialism. It draws a circle around our departed, with an additional circle around our declining workforce in healthcare. This performance is an invitation to gather around medical mannequin Jeannie as she departs this plane into the next. Join dancers Deverin Emery, Yanira Castro, and Maura Negurian Donahue as they overlay their voices and tongues with the memories and sounds of the club, sweating, insisting on last breaths, and guiding a procession through Jeffrey Gibbons' garments, lights, and ancestral realms. The dancers will offer Jeannie to the sky world together as she ascends into the live vocal composition of artist Holland Andrews. Main choreographer Devin Emery is a choreographer, dance artist, dual licensed body worker, registered nurse, psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, and practices as a seer, educator, and holder of collaborative spaces, gesturing to collective ritual in New York City. Emery's performance company / Devin Memory / Beast Productions finds the intersections of these fields. This exhibit is scheduled for January 24th at 4 p.m. For more information, visit the website shown here. Our next stop takes us to the Stationery Factory in Dalton for 2 concerts. The first is called Story Songs of the 70s. Get ready for an unforgettable evening of music as Tom DiMina and his talented band bring the iconic story songs of the 1970s to life. Viewers may recall that Tom DiMina performed last year at the Stationery Factory. Having entertained audiences with their first volume of Cat Stevens, Gordon Lightfoot, and Harry Chapin, Volume 2 will showcase iconic songs from Jim Croce, Leonard Cohen, John Prine, James Taylor, Nick Drake, and Harry Nilsson, just to name a few. This performance promises to stir your soul, get your toes tapping, and have you humming along to the songs that defined a generation. This concert is scheduled for January 9th at 7:30 p.m. The other concert going on is the Guthrie Family Singers. The Guthrie Family Singers are a harmony-driven trio featuring Sarah Lee, Serena, and Robin Guthrie. A dynamic blend of folk, indie, country, gospel, and classic girl group sounds, delivered with the kind of natural chemistry only a family can offer. Granddaughters of the legendary Woody Guthrie, they represent the 3rd and 4th generation of one of America's most iconic musical families. True folk royalty in both lineage and spirit. Originally from Western Massachusetts and now based in Austin, Texas, their music features sweet songs, tight harmonies, and a deep-rooted connection that rings with authenticity. This concert is scheduled for January 30th from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Visit the website shown here for more information. Up next is an important story about Wahconah Park, the grandstands, and an ice rink. According to the Berkshire Eagle, quote, The grandstands at Wahconah Park are finally coming down, and a seasonal ice rink will also make its debut at the ballpark this winter, end quote. Furthermore, also from the Berkshire Eagle, quote, at the latest Conservation Committee meeting, the Conservation Commission unanimously approved the demolition of the ballpark's aging grandstands, which were deemed structurally unsafe in 2022, as well as the installation of a temporary ice rink on the site. The teardown is the first phase of a broader effort to restore the historic 1919 ballpark, home of the Pittsfield Suns. Temporary bleachers were used during the 2022 and 2023 seasons, but the Futures League team sat out 2024 and 2025 because of the park's condition, and the 2026 season is still up in the air. According to Jim McGrath, the city's Park, Open Space, and Natural Resource Program Manager, the demolition, estimated at about $875,000, including hazardous materials removal, will be paid for with existing city and federal funds. The demolition will also free up storage space for that 50 by 100 foot temporary ice rink that will sit on the front area of the park along the road. The rink consists of a tarp with refrigerated lines, bordered by 4-foot-tall kickboards, according to Director of Community Development, Justina Dodds. There will also be 3 10-foot-ton chiller units on the north side of the rink enclosed in chain fencing, as well as an electrical panel board nearby. The city will purchase the rink for winter use and then roll it up and store it off-site in early spring, according to Justine Dobbs. About 126 cubic yards of sand will be brought in to level the site. As a condition of approval, all sand must be removed by April 30th, and the area must be reseeded and restored to its previous condition. End quote. Again, WWHEN thanks the Berkshire Eagle for their information on this story. Up next, we'll be looking into the history of 2 local ski resort areas. First up is Jiminy Peak in Hancock. Berkshire Museum Science Curator, World War II veteran, ski photographer, and Mount Greylock Ski Club charter member Bartlick Hendricks reportedly spent much of the 1930s and early 1940s searching for a tract of land that would be ideal for a ski area. Around 1942 or 1943, dates aren't certain, Hendricks acquired the Corey Farm property, which was considered a snow bowl. 4 years later, Hendricks agreed to lease the property to John Clark, John Drummond, and John Fisher, a trio of World War II veterans who lived in Connecticut. On July 29, 1947, the trio formed Jiminy Peak, Inc., That same month, the trio announced plans to open the ski area for the 1947-48 season with a T-bar and 3 rope tows. Jiminy Peak unofficially opened on Christmas Day of 1948 as one of the rope tows operated on minimal snow cover. The 80,750 vertical foot ski area's T-bar was the first of its type in all of southern New England. A pair of rope tows served the lower mountain and Jiminy Creek slope. From the top of the tows, one could then cross over to a small lodge and the T-bar. From the T-bar, one could ski merry-go-round, whirl away, 360 slope, and slingshot. Unfortunately, a lack of snowfall resulted in the area closing before spring skiing season. There were several improvements made in the following years. As an example, improvements for the 1952-53 season included another rope tow, as well as further trail widening and smoothing. Unfortunately, Mother Nature still did not cooperate, resulting in 3 straight January openings and seasons that were averaging only about 30 operating days. After this string of rough seasons, Jiminy Peak underwent significant changes in the spring of 1955, as John Clark sold his stake in the company and John Drummond stepped down as manager. In his place, former Mount Greylock Ski Club president George Doc Maynard took over as managing director. A Pittsfield resident, Maynard had been involved in the development of the Thunderbolt Trail in Mount Greylock and was involved in ski racing organizations. Today, Jiminy Peak is one of Berkshire County's most popular places to ski at. Our other ski area is Bosque Mountain. Established in 1932, Bosque Mountain is the Berkshire's oldest existing ski area. Before it was a ski area, the property was a mink farm belonging to Clarence J. Clare Bosque. After his mink farming operation failed during the Great Depression, Bosque allowed the Mount Greylock Ski Club to cut a 750-foot ski slope up to the northern summit. And Bosque Ski Grounds was off and running. The installation of Bosque's first rope tow in 1935 brought more visitors and prompted Clarence to increase the ticket price from 25 cents to $1. Big money in 1935. Bosque was also the inventor of the rope toe gripper, which protected the arms and hands of skiers using the lifts. Bosque marketed and subsequently sold 500,000 of his grippers. He was also the first to introduce night skiing, having floodlights installed on the poles in 1936, thanks to a local partnership with General Electric. Today, Bosque Mountain remains one of Berkshire County's most popular places to ski. For our next story, we will be doing a history portion of WWHEN. This episode will be focusing on the Pittsfield Athenaeum. In 1861, Thomas Allen, a Pittsfield native who made a fortune in St. Louis, Missouri, managing and financing the Railroad West, donated $50,000 to his hometown for the construction of a library and exhibit area, which would, in his words, promote culture, refinement, classical learning, and the study of practical science. Thomas Plunkett and Calvin Martin, prominent Pittsfield businessmen, then secured land on Bank Row. The trustees of the Berkshire Athenaeum were incorporated on March 24, 1871. In their words, quote, "For the purpose of establishing and maintaining in the town of Pittsfield an institution to aid in promoting education, culture, and refinement, and diffusing knowledge by means of a library, reading rooms, lectures, museums, and cabinets of art, and historical curiosities." With Allen's contribution, the Athenaeum was completed and has been Pittsfield's public library ever since. The Berkshire Athenaeum opened at its original Bank Row location in 1876. At a time when it was not unusual for libraries to be called Athenaeums, which is a Latin word meaning a place of learning. The Athenaeum, an ornate Great Barrington blue limestone, red Longmeadow freestone, and Missouri granite building facing Park Square, wasn't Pittsfield's first library. As early as 1796, there were exclusive, non-circulating social libraries in Pittsfield. Before that, the Pittsfield's immediate predecessors were the Young Men's Association Library and later the Pittsfield Library Association, who charged annual fees from $2 to $6 and provided members with a small room open one evening a week to read by dim lantern light. The library remained at the Bank Row location for almost 100 years. The current library is located in the center of Pittsfield, 2 doors away from the original Athenaeum building it replaced in 1975. While offering traditional library services, circulation collections, children's programming, reference, and internet access, the Athenaeum's strengths lies in its special collection of local history and genealogy, Berkshire authors, and materials pertaining to Herman Melville. These special collections attract visitors from all over the world. It's now time for this episode's movie portion of WWHEN. January is a very slow month for movies, so why not look back at a hidden gem from 2023? This episode, we'll be reviewing the film The Apology. 20 years after the disappearance of her daughter, recovering alcoholic Darlene is preparing to host her family's Christmas celebration. But late Christmas Eve, Darlene's estranged ex-brother-in-law Jack arrives, unannounced, bearing gifts and a heavy secret. Soon, Darlene finds herself caught trapped by a dangerous storm and Jack's shocking acts. So why is this movie worth seeking out? Even though the holidays are past us, movies like this are always enjoyable. This is almost like an anti-holiday movie. Because for some people like Darlene, the holidays bring nothing but sadness. And this movie really highlights this. At only 93 minutes long, the movie moves at a quick pace. It feels like a very good play that doesn't have too much action, but has a lot of good dialogue. There are some shocking twists as well. The performances are good too. Anna Gunn is terrific as the broken mother, who eventually finds the strength she needs. If you're looking for a movie for the dog days of January, this is worth seeking out. It is currently streaming on AMC Plus or available for rental at your local library. January and movies also supply the answer to this episode's trivia question. As a reminder, this episode's question was, what movie had the highest grossing opening for a January release? The answer is American Sniper. The film, which tells the story of American Marine Chris Kyle and was directed by Clint Eastwood, opened to wide release in January 2015. It became a surprise hit, earning over $89 million its first weekend, on its way to a $350 million total box office. It also won a couple of technical Oscars. Just missing the top spot for January hits was 2020's Bad Boys for Life, which made $62 million its first weekend, on its way to a $206 million total box office. Amazingly, the movie, despite its January release, was the highest grossing movie of 2020. But of course, with the major asterisk of the COVID pandemic shutting down movie theaters. That ends this episode of Wehry History and Entertainment News in the Berkshires and beyond. If you would like to watch this or any other WWHEN episode again, you can visit PCTV's website shown here or my YouTube page at RT Wehry. And I want to thank CTSB TV and NBCTC for showing my show on their public access station. Thank you.